Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we will start with telling you that Carol did not put the questions in here that we asked. I think we can do fine by winging it, but if the committee has different thoughts on that, then we will discuss it. What do y'all think? Some of the questions to me are kind of silly anyway.
That's what we scored on.
No, I'm going to give you a sheet to score it on. I've got those ready.
Have you got a list of the questions broke down or anything?
No, I always give them back to them.
So we can ask the individual whatever question we want to.
That's correct. That's about the only thing I know to do.
We need to ask everybody the same question.
Well,
We
yeah,
got one more.
there's no question about that. And I think all we can do is go around the room and let everybody ask the question that wants to. But like I say, we'll call the meeting to order. I do have a list of the minutes of the last meeting. Would anybody want me to go into that and read them?
No, so except for minutes is written.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. I'll lay them right here if anybody wants to see them, but I have those. And
Do we have the application?
absolutely.
Oh, that's what I.
He's got one going around, that's Mike's. And again, I apologize, Mike, there's not much I can do about it. Never had this problem before. You're Michael Edwin Neal.
That's correct.
Okay. And like I say, there's a couple of them I know, Mike, I know, I'll share it with everybody. I know at one time you were a deputy sheriff.
Yes.
I also know that you're a sitting alderman, city alderman
Yes.
right now, and I checked on that to make sure you could serve before we did it, and that was fine. So we got that taken care of. I think you used to be a county commissioner too. I think
Yes, several years ago.
I thought you were
Back in the
before
day.
I got in it.
Yes.
So it's been a while back. Anyway, we're glad you're here. We appreciate everybody's presence, all the visitors that are here tonight. Welcome to come back at any meeting we have. Okay. And like I say, what we're going to have to do is just kind of wing it. I'll ask the first question, and I'm going to ask Carlene if she'll kind of write the questions down, because we do need to ask the same questions to everybody. I agree with that 100%. I guess, Mike, the question I have is, why do you want to be a judicial commissioner?
Well, I've got a law enforcement, my background, and that's always been something appealing to me. But this is a little bit of a different aspect of judicial commissioners. I've worked with judicial commissioners in the past, both in law enforcement, and I have had some dealings with them in my business dealings on some bad checks or different things like that. So I'm familiar with the process of how this works.
Okay. I guess what we need to do is, I'll just go with you, Charles, and let you ask the question. If that's all right.
Do you understand what they work under, a simple principle of what they're doing as a judicial commissioner?
My understanding of what a judicial commissioner does is writes warrants based upon probable cause of whatever the event or circumstance that they've heard. Writes mittimuses, which are warrants of incarceration. The statute concerning judicial commissioners says set bails and bonds according to the laws of the state and under the guidance of the General Sessions judge. It also speaks of, which I never saw this when I was in law enforcement, it speaks of referring folks to who may be indigent legal counsel, but I never saw that in any way when I was in law enforcement. I don't know if that is a new part of the law or if that is something that is different.
That answers my question. assume folks don't know what they're applying for.
That's very true.
Thank you.
Okay.
You got the question, I hope we're going too fast. You got it, okay. Sorry.
Neal.
Go
Sir.
ahead, Tom.
In this position, you would have access to a lot of confidential information,
Yes.
information that most people would not have. Would you feel confident that you could be trusted and not ever disclose any of that information?
Sure. Tennessee has what they call a Tennessee Privacy Act too, which sets those guidelines for what things are and are not private. But yes, I see no problem with that.
I don't know you personally, I know who you are, but like I say, city alderman and stuff, I mean, and I just, the main thing, what gets me, we went through this in the last 2 years or 3 years, I know, we've hired a bunch of individuals, and if anything, I think you're probably overqualified. But I mean, a lot of people are. We've heard some good individuals, but when they start getting calls at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it don't last long. I mean, we went through a bunch. I mean, you've been in law. I mean, is this something? Would you be in it for the long haul? I mean, do you think? I know it's probably hard to answer, not done it, but I mean, we don't want to go through this again in 2 months.
I understand. Yes, I'm committed to the time or whatever whatever we need to do. I'm a big boy.
Well, I know.
And I
like
can get up at 2 and 3 in the morning and all of those things.
I mean, I know Kenny can tell you, we went through the last year or so.
Probably 5 or 6 is my guess. That's what they said.
And that's the thing. I think you're well qualified to be a judicial commissioner.
Well, several of those were. They were qualified. They're all of them was.
Like you, I think if anything, you're overqualified.
I live in close proximity to the jail. You know, it's
You live
a mile away.
a mile away.
Roughly a mile and a half. Yes. So.
Well, I know you're fast. I mean, I feel comfortable, with you as a judicial commissioner. I think you do a good job.
Thank you.
That's about all I've got.
Arlene? Putting you on the spot, you're ready to keep up with these other ones, and I know that, I'm sorry. But you'll have to do it one time.
Mike, do you understand this is a part-time shift position?
Sure, I do.
Weekends?
I do. In fact, that's what I would rather work the weekends if that's possible. That's what I would rather do the Saturday. Which it's in my resume there. But that's more what, because I have a business I run, during the daytime, during the week. But that's what I would prefer to do is the weekends.
So it's an on-call position
Sure.
without benefits.
I understand.
And when you're called, you have to be able to report to work within 15 minutes.
I understand.
And so when you're on that shift, you cannot be tied up to any other commitment because when you're called, you need to be there.
I understand.
Okay, you say that's not going to be a problem for you then?
I don't foresee it as any no.
Okay. Mike, I've got some things I need to ask you, and I may need Jim to help me on some of them. I need to know if you draw Tennessee Consolidated Retirement.
No.
You don't draw any of that. If you do, you can only work so many hours, and Jim will tell you how many, but I needed to know if you did or not.
Okay.
When she asked the question about being on call, I know you run a business up there. Well, I've been told that. I've never been in it. I'm sorry. I'll try to do that, but can you do it in the daytime? The training will take place during the day. Jim is our trainer.
Okay.
Jim is a judicial commissioner that works days. He works 8 hours all day. Is there. He's kind of a supervisor, but he's also our trainer. Would you be able to?
As long as I know ahead of time where I could have someone, to help me in
In the beginning, there is some training. You're going to have to be there, what, Jim, 2-3 weeks probably?
It would consist of certainly your ability to catch on and move forward, but I would say 2 or 3 weeks of pretty intense training to get you established in the TCA codes, the protocol that we use, the computer format that we follow. So it would be 2 or 3 weeks of training, typically Monday through Friday from somewhere in the range of 7 to 3, but not specifically those hours, but during the daytime. Is that something you'd require to have?
That would be something I would have to check. If it's an ongoing 2 or 3 weeks, that would be something that
Would
would
be pretty consistent.
yes. Okay. That might be a snag for me.
That's why I wanted to bring that up, where she's covered some of this. You have to be within the jail in 15 minutes, you've got that covered. The pay's not that great, it starts out at $9.50 an hour. Now, the budget will change, we'll be working on the budget, I'm on budget and finance, and the next little bit, the budgets will start coming in, and you know, y'all get the same raises as everybody else does. But there's 3 a day, a second, and a third shift, and all 3 of them get benefits. Because they work 8 hours and they're committed to that 8 hours, but they also, they get vacations and stuff. So the actual, what I'd like to do tonight, I haven't discussed this with the committee, but I was going to at the end, is hire 2 folks, and you know, that way. But on the front end, on the training, there is a training you have to go to once a year, it's required by law.
12 hours.
But just to go out and start writing them, we need you to know that you're ready before we do that. We have had some problems in the past. We just can't do that. We got to make sure everybody's ready.
I understand.
So I guess what I'm saying, of course, you know you got to pass the drug test and background check.
Sure.
That's about the only things that I haven't talked about. I have no doubt you pass them, or anybody that's on this list. I'm not saying they wouldn't, but we do it with everybody. And if you get a call that we have selected you, you would need to tell me or Carol one at that time if you can't work that out in the beginning. And Jim could come closer telling you how long that would be than me, but we've almost got to do it on days. I would like for you to work every shift. And I've told Jim that before, to work with the other commissioners that's on the weekends and stuff like that to see how they do it. But Jim will do most of the training. Do you have any questions you want to ask us?
None that I can think of. You said the starting pay is $9.50. Is that?
I believe that's right, and Jim will start at $9 an hour.
And it's part time. So is it like 8 hours? How is this scheduling or the shifts?
Just assuming that you're going to cover for someone that works weekends. We've got basically 2 people that work a standard work shift during the weekends, and they alternate every other weekend. One of the commissioners works one particular weekend, and the second or other commissioner works the next weekend. So they alternate every other weekend, and those hours are one day is one particular day would be a 24-hour shift, and then followed that by a 12-hour shift. So you'd be working basically 36 hours on call for the weekend, and then one of our standby commissioners now comes in and fills in that last 24 hours. So we've basically got 2 commissioners working a 24-hour shift, say on Saturday, 7 o'clock a.m. Saturday to 7 o'clock a.m. Sunday, and then they follow that with an additional 12-hour shift, which would be 7 a.m. Sunday to 7 p.m. Sunday. And then the standby commissioner that we have comes in and catches that last 12 hours, and that covers the total 48 hours for the weekend. So we never know what that commissioner may require. Let's assume that the commissioner that's working needs to take off, let's say, the 12-hour shift on Sunday. If they'll give me an advance notice of that, I would call you perhaps, if you were available, give you the opportunity to work that. So, you know, we don't have a set schedule, and it's an on-call issue where you're going to be covering for other people. And that being said, if we can assume that you're running your full-time business during the day, if one of the commissioners that's working an 8-hour shift Monday through Friday desired to take off, or had an emergency or something that required them to be vacated.
My apologies, but we're running schedule on time here. We got
I'm sorry.
15 minutes. We gotta hold it to 15 minutes on everybody.
So we need to, we may have to cover it for someone during the day if that's,
We only have one part-time person now, and he works a full-time job, Rick Bond. He works for Bank Pack. So when we get caught where the 3 people are on, they get overtime, and we've got to stop that,
I
basically.
understand.
That's what I was saying. We have a lot of people, we have some good people, and if they get into it, it's not the roses they thought. You understand what I'm
I
saying?
understand.
What is your business anyway? I shouldn't know.
Culinary, music, and firearms.
Okay.
Are you still
I should know, but
interested in knowing what you know now?
I'm interested. It would just, but to me, it would be difficult for anyone who has another job, though, to meet the daytime. If it's strictly daytime training, I don't know how anyone that has another job, especially if it's a daytime
Don't know
job,
if Jim
could comply
work,
with.
or it's not daytime or
Could
not.
comply with that. but-
Obviously, we definitely would want Jim doing most of the training,
Sure.
not all of it, so that's gonna be tough.
it would require me to be in an overtime position to come on
I understand.
after my standard. See, I work a standard shift as well as the supervisory responsibility.
I understand.
And then for me to come on after those particular hours would require an overtime paid to me. It would make it difficult.
I understand.
Okay, we are out of time, but.
Okay, and to clear this up, if you were hired and while you were doing training, you are paid while you're doing training.
Oh, yeah, you get paid.
Okay.
It's not free.
I understand. Okay.
And I'm not speaking for Ken. If you think about it tonight and decide you don't want to do it, please let him.
Okay. I will.
I'll give you my cell number if you want it, and you can call me.
I think I've got it.
Okay. If you can't, call Carol to minister, she'll give it to you.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you
Thank
coming in.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to put a, you want to score it? Mike, if someone else is out there, if you'll come here, ask them to come in.
I could take out the training. Just kind of make it
Application. Does somebody have this application?
How you doing, Jim?
We'll be with you in just a second here. I'm trying to find the last gentleman's application. Well, I thought you did, but what I do with it? It's run off.
How you liking your new job, Herschel?
Okay.
Different, ain't it? Haven't seen you around in a long time.
We will get started. We normally have a set of questions we ask.
Yeah.
And Carol forgot to give them to me, so we're sort of winging it tonight. It's basically the same questions we ask anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You're Mr. Keithley, right?
Huh?
You Mr. Keithley?
Yes.
Thank you. Charles Morgan.
Do you know everybody on the committee? I'm Ken Martin.
I know Mr. Wells.
No, I'm not Mr. Wells.
You favorite?
Well, thank you.
Forgive me. I thought you do kind of favor, a little
He
bit.
may not.
If you had that, well, if you had the hat
Thank
on,
you, that's good.
that hat would set you off.
I'm Tommy Savage.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I still don't know what that application is. Okay, I'll start with the questions. Basically, the question that I asked Mike when he was in here is, why do you want to be a county judicial commissioner?
Well, it's kind of a challenge, and I've been out of work now for a year. Retirement ain't what it's cracked up to be, I'll tell you. I worked out of jail 7 years, and I retired from there when I was 65 and went to work
Where'd you work for 7 years?
at the jail,
At the jail?
and
What capacity?
CO,
Okay.
A what? What position?
correctional officer. Yeah,
So what they used to call jailers?
yeah,
Years ago, when I was a kid, I was a city policeman, and they called them jailers.
yeah. Well, it's migrated quite a bit from that anymore. It's really a
Yeah.
overrated babysitting job. But anyway, I worked there and retired and went to work uptown for Bob Warren. I run his computer shop for a year, and he finally got tired and closed it up.
Okay.
And I have a computer shop at home, though. It's kind of a part-time hobby shop, more or less. And I ain't done anything last year except hang around the house, and I'm about to go stir crazy.
I understand.
And I'm the kind of person who like to keep my mind busy doing something, you know.
Sounds great. Charles?
Oh, at what depth do you know the requirements of a judicial commissioner, or what their duties are? Could you explain to me?
Well, I've been around them for 7 years, so, you know, they write warrants. Officer brings in a person's arrested, and they take the information from the officer and document it. And also they serve the public when the individual citizen has a complaint. The first thing they do would be get a report written by the officer, and then you go from there, you know, to justify if they have a legitimate complaint or is it just a harassment complaint.
Tom?
In this job, you would have access to a lot of information that the general public wouldn't have access to.
Right, well, it's like in my previous employment with the jail, you know, I had access to everybody's criminal records and, you know, knew more than regular citizen would know.
True.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with that aspect, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Harold, maybe I've known you all my life. We was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ever since we was kids, and it'd be hard for me not to vote for you to be a judicial commissioner, because I know the type of individual you are, family, background, the whole, and I know whenever I seen your name on the list, of course I know you worked at the jail, and I mean, I know your background, and I think you're well qualified, and like I asked a while ago, the main thing is if you was hired, are you in this for the long haul? I mean, we go through this about every 2 or 3 months, seems like hiring judicial commissioners. Somebody gets in there and it's
Burn them out.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they don't like it, it's not what they
Yeah.
cut out to be, or something. That's, you know what I mean? We go.
Yeah, I'm kind of working. I got a very irregular schedule. I usually don't go to bed at midnight. You know, it's so, like I said, it don't matter really what time I have to go. If I'm on call, I just more or less make adjustment for that. You know what I mean? I just,
Well, I think Ken's going to explain to you, this is just part-time, but I think you'd make with your background and stuff, I think you'd make a good, and your life history as far as that goes. That's about all I've got to say. I've known this man all his life.
Okay. Well, I've seen you, but I haven't, I promise. I didn't know you at all. But I appreciate you applying. We had some good applicants.
yeah.
You were one of them. Carlene?
Do you understand this is a part-time position?
Yeah, that's what I want it to be. I wouldn't want it to be any more than that. I'm not in it for the money, because that's not the, you know, I'm just in it for the challenge and to something to give my mind a challenge and to provide a service, you know. I like working. I've been working with the public for over 50 years, and I just enjoy it. I'm a people person.